What if love wasn't just a matter of the heart, but also of power? What if behind every attraction, every glance held a few seconds longer than usual, there was a secret dance of forces, strategies, and decisions we rarely recognize, but always feel? Imagine, just for a moment, that what we call chemistry, charm, or attraction is nothing more than the result of invisible dynamics we could actually learn, understand, and use to our advantage. What if being attractive wasn't only about your looks or sweet words, but about your ability to influence, to make an impact, and to stay in someone's mind? In a world overflowing with hollow advice like, just be yourself, be nicer, or show your feelings, it feels almost rebellious to suggest that the real secret to winning someone over, yes, winning, might lie in the writings of a man who lived in the 16th century, surrounded by betrayal, war, and courtrooms full of masks. Niccolò Machiavelli didn't write about love, but he understood something most people ignore. Human beings don't just respond to what's real, they respond to what seems valuable. We don't follow the kindest person, we follow the one who projects confidence. We don't desire the most transparent person, but the one who sparks our imagination. Attraction, seen through Machiavellian eyes, isn't born from love, it's born from perception. And that's uncomfortable, because no one likes to think that attraction involves playing a game. That mystery might be stronger than honesty. That silence might be more seductive than a bouquet of flowers. That saying less might be more effective than pouring your heart out. We were taught that love is earned by being good. But Machiavelli whispers something else in our ear. It's earned by being strategic. Does that mean manipulation? Not necessarily. It means understanding that attraction isn't some random miracle. It's a choreography of signals, a dance of perceived value, a battle for interest and attention. It means you can stop being the forever, nice friend, and start being someone who awakens desire. You can stop chasing and start being chased. But to do that, you need to shift your perspective. Stop asking what others expect from you, and start asking what perception you're creating. Because no one is drawn to someone who begs, and no one remembers the person who offers themselves with no mystery. Think about it. How many times have you desperately wanted someone to like you, someone who barely even noticed you? How many times were you the first to text, the one who insisted, who was always there, only to be ignored? And how many times, without really knowing why, someone suddenly felt deeply attracted to you? Just when you least expected it, just when you were focused on your life, your goals, your purpose? That wasn't luck. That was perception. In that moment, you appeared strong, unavailable. And attraction, from a Machiavellian point of view, always tilts toward the one who doesn't beg. This shifts everything about how we view relationships. Because while we all want to be loved, what we really need, if we want to be desired, is to be seen as valuable. And that value is built, projected, and guarded. Nobody wants what everyone can easily have. Nobody treasures what's given away freely. People, men and women alike, desire what challenges them, what sparks their curiosity, what has clear boundaries. And as cold as it might sound, this is one of the most powerful truths Machiavelli left us. Human nature responds more strongly to the need for conquest than to comfort. In other words, desire doesn't thrive in ease, it feeds on challenge. That's why one of the biggest mistakes we make in the game of attraction is trying to be liked by being predictable, available, and overly accommodating. We think that saying yes to everything, replying quickly, and revealing our whole personal story will make us more human, more relatable, more desirable. But what actually happens is the opposite. We become boring, obvious, replaceable. And then, without knowing why, the other person pulls away. Not because you're bad, but because you no longer create any tension. Machiavelli would say it bluntly, you lost your perceived value. You showed weakness. You were too generous without being asked. Of course, this can hurt, because society has convinced us that love is about purity, surrender, complete transparency. But what it doesn't tell us is that before love can exist, there must be interest. And interest is fleeting, fragile, and deeply influenced by how we present ourselves to others. That's why being attractive isn't just a matter of personality, but of presence. And your presence depends on how much you value yourself, how much you respect your own boundaries, and how much mystery you're willing to maintain. The curious thing is that many people, especially those with kind hearts, end up being ignored not because they are less, but because they expose themselves too quickly. because they don't understand the art of seduction as a game of space, rhythm, and power. Machiavelli would help us see that having qualities isn't enough. You have to know how to ration them. You need to know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move forward and when to step back, when to be available and when to let silence do the work. This doesn't mean living behind a mask or acting with coldness. It means reclaiming control over your presence. It means not giving yourself away out of fear of being lost, because the one who gives themselves without condition loses value. And as unfair as that may sound, it's a deep psychological truth. That's why many natural seducers, not particularly beautiful or wealthy, master this dance intuitively. They don't panic, they don't rush, they don't show all their cards. And in doing so, they awaken something the heart can't ignore, the desire to discover. When Machiavelli observed power, he saw the same thing that happens in love. Attraction isn't logical, it's perceptual. And if you want to be desired, you have to become someone who inspires respect, not pity, desire, not guilt, interest, not obligation. Because what isn't won with strategy often can't be maintained with love alone. So let's go back to the original question. What if love is also a form of power? What if learning to be attractive isn't about luck or genetics, but about understanding how the human mind works? Maybe it's time to stop asking how to be more likable and start asking how to project more value. Not to manipulate, not to deceive, but because maybe true seduction begins the moment we stop begging for affection and start deserving it. And isn't that, deep down, the kind of attraction that truly transforms? Attraction is not an accident, it's a language. And like any language, it can be learned, unlearned, and refined. Good intentions aren't enough if we don't understand how others perceive us. Because as much as we'd like to believe we're valued for who we are on the inside, the truth is most people decide whether to approach us or not based on what we project, not what we hide. And that's exactly what Machiavelli understood better than anyone. Power isn't about who you are, it's about how you make others feel in your presence. An attractive person isn't simply someone with a pretty smile or a well-sculpted body. It's someone who, when entering a room, shifts the energy without needing to say a word. It's the kind of person who makes others look twice, without really knowing why. It's not a matter of luck or magic, but of internal strategy, a blend of confidence, restraint, and a touch of mystery. And that strategy isn't born from pleasing others, but from mastering the art of perception. Machiavelli wrote for princes who wanted to rule kingdoms. But his ideas, interestingly enough, apply to anyone who wants to reign in someone else's mind. Because what we call influence in politics is called desire in the realm of attraction. And in both cases, the foundation is the same, making the other person feel like they have something to lose if they ignore you, something to gain if they pursue you, and that you, deep down, are not desperate for their attention. Here, a key word emerges: independence. Not as an empty slogan, but as a real, cultivated, visible attitude. A person who doesn't constantly need to prove they're good, who doesn't rush to give everything right away, who sets boundaries naturally and stays centered on their own path. This person radiates a strength that is deeply attractive. Because there's nothing more seductive than someone who chooses themselves before they choose anyone else. Someone who can love you, but doesn't need to beg. Someone who can share, but won't give themselves away without mutual effort. From a Machiavellian perspective, this isn't coldness. It's dignity. It's the refusal to fall into the trap of trying to be liked at any cost, of begging for love with forced smiles, of tolerating the intolerable out of fear of being alone. And it's that very fear that causes us to lose our power. Because the one who fears solitude settles for crumbs. And the one who settles for crumbs stops being attractive. Because attraction, at its core, is directly tied to respect. No one truly desires someone they don't respect. And respect is built when you're able to say, "This is my limit." When you're able to walk away at the right time. When you know you don't need anyone else to feel whole. That's why, when someone shows integrity, when they defend their time, their space, their worldview, something stirs in those around them. Because most people are so used to people-pleasing, to the anxiety of being liked, that encountering a calm, grounded, autonomous presence feels almost hypnotic. As if, suddenly, someone appears who isn't trying to be liked, but is simply being. Being with purpose. Being with elegance. Being without servitude. Machiavelli would have applauded this kind of attitude, because he understood that the strongest power is the one that doesn't have to be begged for. In matters of the heart, this translates to a kind of silent charm. It's not about shouting your virtues or competing with others. It's about becoming an emotional experience that leaves a mark. Someone who doesn't beg to be noticed, but who is remembered even in their absence. Because the way they spoke, the way they moved, the way they set boundaries made one thing very clear. Being with them isn't an obligation, it's a privilege. And that's the key, understanding that you, too, have the power to choose. That you're not in this world to convince anyone to love you. You're here to offer your presence consciously, and if someone doesn't value it, you can withdraw it, without drama. That, though it may sound simple, is the hardest part. Because all of us, at some point, have been afraid of not being liked, of not being enough, of being forgotten. But when that fear controls our actions, we stop being desirable. Because nothing about us feels solid. Because we project insecurity, anxiety, urgency. And none of that makes someone fall in love. But calmness does. Certainty does. Knowing when to stay silent, when to hold a gaze without speaking, when to wait without pressuring. The ability to be present without overwhelming. To care without losing yourself. To show interest without erasing your own world. That tension, that balance between closeness and autonomy, between tenderness and mystery, is what truly sparks desire. Because the one who seems to need little becomes infinitely more valuable. There are people who, without saying much, make others wonder, what is it about them? Why am I so drawn to them? And it's not that they have something specific. It's that they don't give everything away at once. It's that they take their time. It's that they know their worth and aren't in a rush. Because, as Machiavelli said, what is gained too easily is rarely kept. On the other hand, what takes a little more effort, what demands attention, what cannot be fully controlled, that becomes unforgettable. And here comes the most beautiful part of all this. You don't need to fake anything to achieve it. It's not about building a facade. It's about working on yourself honestly. About cultivating your inner world. About making your own life interesting to yourself. Because someone who lives passionately, who has projects, who respects themselves, who sets boundaries and loves themselves, inevitably radiates something magnetic. And not because they're trying to attract anyone, but because they're already whole. So, if you truly want to be more attractive to someone, to a woman in this case, don't start by asking what she wants. Start by asking what you're doing with your own life. Don't search for lines to impress her. Build a life that impresses you. Because in the end, what seduces isn't the words, but the energy behind them. It's not your looks, it's your attitude. It's not persistence, it's the quality of your silence. It's not how much you give, but how much you value yourself when you give. Everything else, appearances, compliments, little details, are just ornaments. What really matters is how your value is perceived. And that value isn't decided by you alone. You project it with every gesture, every decision, every boundary you set, or allow others to cross. That's how, little by little, you stop being someone trying to be liked, and become someone who inspires desire. Not because you chase it, but because you embody it. Not because you need it, but because you are already enough. And that, more than any romantic phrase, more than any seduction tactic, is what stays in the memory of those who have met you. The feeling of having stood before someone who wasn't ruled by fear, who didn't beg for love, who, as Machiavelli said, understood that true power doesn't lie in being liked, but in being unforgettable. Everything we are, our gestures, our silences, our decisions, speaks louder than our words. And that, more than any seduction technique or superficial advice, is what truly leaves a mark on the hearts and memories of others. When a woman remembers a man with desire, with respect, with fascination, she's not just remembering his looks, not even his words. She's remembering how he made her feel. She's remembering his presence. And that's where many fail, not because they lack beauty or intelligence or sensitivity, but because they haven't learned how to inhabit their own presence. They live outside themselves, seeking approval, begging for attention, adjusting their behavior to please, trying to be what the other person wants them to be. But when you betray yourself to please, you lose your essence. And what attracts isn't the appearance of confidence, but the authenticity that comes from a solid relationship with yourself. Machiavelli, who seemed to write about war, diplomacy, and power, was in fact speaking about something more intimate, the way people position themselves in the world. He understood that power doesn't reside in brute force or in likability without character, but in the ability to influence without begging, to fascinate without pleading, to remain firm without becoming rigid. A man who knows himself, who has self-mastery, who can adapt without losing his core, is a man who inevitably leaves a lasting impression. Because he doesn't transmit need, he radiates choice. And that is exactly what sparks desire. The sense that being with you is a decision, not a shelter from loneliness. We live in a time where we are constantly pushed to show ourselves, to explain ourselves, to justify ourselves. We're tempted to exaggerate our strengths, to hide our shadows, to say too much. But those who truly make an impact aren't the ones who shout their worth, but those who embody it. They don't need to explain themselves because their way of being in the world already says it all. Their silence carries weight. Their gaze holds intention. Their distance isn't coldness, it's discernment. And their closeness isn't anxiety, it's a decision. That kind of person, the one who doesn't crawl for affection, who doesn't need to fake anything to be liked, who doesn't respond to every stimulus with desperation, becomes irresistible. Because in a world where everyone rushes, he knows how to wait. Where everyone wants to be liked, he seeks to be respected. Where others throw themselves at the first sign of attention, he watches, measures, chooses. Not because he's playing games, but because he honors himself. And when someone honors themselves, everything about them says, "I'm not just anyone." That silent message is more powerful than any declaration of love. Because what stirs deep desire isn't an abundance of words, but consistent, steady, radiant presence. It's not how much you talk, but how you stay silent. It's not how much you give, but how much you're worth before giving. It's not how hard you insist, but how intact you remain when you don't get what you expected. Right there, at that exact point where you could bend, and don't, that's where genuine attraction is born. Not out of rebellion, but out of dignity. And it's not about playing with people's emotions. It's not about building a mask of indifference or coldness. It's about recognizing that the most powerful attraction arises when two people don't need each other, but choose each other. When neither is trying to fill a void with the other, but to share the abundance they carry inside. That's the kind of connection that's unforgettable. The one that doesn't come from lack, but from freedom. And to reach that, one must first learn to live within oneself, with strength. That's why, if you truly want to be attractive, start by looking at yourself honestly. From what place are you connecting with others? From genuine desire or from a sense of lack? From freedom or from anxiety? From confidence or from fear of rejection? The answers to these questions will determine not only the quality of your relationships, but also the strength of your presence. Because a person who acts out of fear, of being alone, of not being liked, of being forgotten, will always make themselves smaller. And no one desires what they perceive as weak, even if it's good. Because desire isn't moral, it's visceral. It doesn't respond to arguments, but to sensations.